All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. On this 16th day, I'll skip my commercial here and we'll go right to the show. Looks like the Lakers in this play-in game are down by 5 points to the Pelicans. A lot of talk about this game. Going to talk about that. Also, Caitlin Clark gets drafted to the WNBA, sets a record for jersey sales. Is Caitlin Clark going to be the Tiger Woods effect of golf? Is she going to be the Michael Jordan of the NBA? Yeah, a lot of the national media figures went on and on about how low the WNBA salaries are. I'll talk about that as well. Also, Devontae Smith has signed an extension. What does that mean for the Eagles? What does that mean for A.J. Brown going forward? That's what I'm going to talk about tonight, folks. And, of course, obviously go over the NBA playoffs. As of right now, Lakers our Pelicans up 31-26. Very high score in first quarter. I think it'll settle down. The Lakers will win. LeBron and Anthony Davis are playing. I don't know if they're going to have a plan to take these guys out of the game. The integrity of that would not look good. Okay, so let's start there. The Lakers, technically, yes, they are 2-0 against OKC. The Lakers in that 9-10 playing game right now. I'll tell you what, it's weird. I was just going to go over how much improved Zion Williamson, this Pelican team has been. They hung around that 4 or 5 seed forever. It seemed like up to 3 or 4 weeks ago. Now they have slipped. They have slipped down into the playing game status here due to the red hotness of the Suns team. Mavericks are playing well. The West is pretty deep this year, to say the least. Not that they're not already deep here. But kudos to the Oklahoma City Thunder. A lot of people's thinking that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander may be the MVP with them having the best record in the West and the way he's playing. I would not be surprised. But back to this. Again, Lakers are 2-0 against OKC. If they lose tonight, I'm saying this because Mike Greenberg, Colin Cowherd, ESPN, Fox Sports guys are saying that they should lose this, tank this game, and not play AD or LeBron James. I'm not of that mindset. I looking at it. Gotta make sure and put my stats. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, rough start here. Okay. So let's go back here, and I'm going to play this from Mike Greenberg from the show Get Up, if I can find him here, and see what he says here. Listen up. This was yesterday.
And I know that it flies in the face of absolutely everything that the spirit of competition was born to create. And you just said, Herman Edwards, you play to win the game. The Lakers should not play tomorrow night. They should not play LeBron. They should not play AD. They do not want to be the 7 seed. You want to be the 8. I'm taking my chances in a one and done at home against either Sacramento or Golden State and go in against the very young OKC Thunder.
Problem is, both of those teams, Sacramento is 14-4 again, and 4-0 this year against the Lakers. And of course, you know that at any given night, the Warriors can shoot you out of the gym. You're in a one-and-done scenario with two very talented, playoff-savvy teams. I'm not so sure about that, but I'll let you hear more. Mike Greenberg from the Get Up.
Thunder in round one,
yesterday.
Instead of going into
talk about this game.
That is Denver. I think it is worth the risk.
Everything you said is right, except for one thing. You put yourself into a one-off situation, okay, where you lose one game, you're going home for the summer if you lose that second night, right? This is different with the Knicks.
Tim Legler talking sense into Mike Greenberg.
Right? You still have a best-of-7 series you're about to go play, right? And the better team will win that series. This is different. Like, you lose that game intentionally, you put yourself into a situation where you're playing the winner of the 9-10, and anything could happen. Somebody gets hurt. Somebody gets in foul trouble. D'Angelo Russell goes 1 for 14. Like there's so many things could happen in one game.
Yes.
And you find yourself going home for the summer. I think that's a little bit more precarious.
I recognize the risk, but I think life is about assessing risk, reward. Is it worth that risk to avoid playing Denver in round 1 or 2? There's no one who can look. The Nuggets are the one team the Lakers have no chance to beat. Realistically, no chance to beat. And you know who knows that? LeBron James knows that. They got swept by the Nuggets last year. That is a matchup they are hoping something.
Yeah, they're 0-6 against the Nuggets. But, again, would you rather play the Nuggets? Look at it this way. Your 2 core players are post-30. Anthony Davis is the main guy here. LeBron has played well. It's questionable if it's pure or not. I've talked about that in another program. But this is really, and at my last bet left over from the Super Bowl, I still had money left over from a Super Bowl in FanDuel. I lost the Lakers Golden State because Anthony Davis was a scratch there. Other than that, they would have matched up really well. But this team beat the Bucks twice, once on the road, once at home, coming back from major deficits, both with Anthony Davis. Davis is really the guy there. But he does get banged up a lot. He has played well these last 2 years. Is his best basketball of his career. He is post 30. LeBron's pushing closer to 40. And there's a chance that you could get banged up. If you're going to play the team that is you feel like you don't have to match up the best with, you want to play them early anyways, while you still got your 2 guns healthy, and just take a chance here. Now, that being said, yeah, Oklahoma City, jump shooting team. Young teams like that typically do not fare well in the playoffs. History says that this particular Lakers team, they're 2-0 against them in the regular season. I understand that. I did want to make a note, though, against the Kings. The Lakers are they're not too good. The Lakers would be playing a Malik Monk without a Malik Monk or a Kevin Hueller. That's about 26 points a game off your bench there. So I think Monk was like a 6th man of the year type of player. Huge setback there for this Kings team, especially since Sabonis is having a career year there at their big. But we'll see. We'll see how that thing plays out. They will play later on tonight. That Kings team will play the Warriors tonight. I still think the Warriors will probably beat them. Warriors match up pretty well. Kings a little bit short-handed. But we shall see. But that being said, the Lakers are playing LeBron. They are playing. Now, of course, if they go and, of course, they're down by 7. So I don't know if now it's 3 here. So I don't know if somebody said a 4-point play here with 10 minutes and 16 seconds to go here in this particular game. All right. So we'll see how that thing plays out. I do think this is going to be a very interesting, probably the best in, say, 5 years. I know that last year was good with the NBA playoffs. The NBA really bottomed out around the COVID year in 2020 with all the George Floyd stuff, the protests, the bubble. A lot of people just didn't buy into that. It got very divisive. Plus, the games didn't have fans in it. It was just really bottom out. It's slowly trying to creep its way back into relevance. Again, I mentioned that the NCAA men's and women's both beat the finals last year. Especially women's had 18 million people in the last Caitlin Clark game there. In the national championship game, which was Clark and Iowa versus South Carolina. Okay. So let's see. The playoffs in general, speaking of the playoffs, I like Denver to beat Boston. I remember at the beginning of the year, I said I think I like Boston to beat Denver, adding in Porzingis, which has been a good pickup here. But then the big key games against Denver, LA, playoff-like teams, I didn't like the way they played. They were swept by Denver this year, down 0-2. I just did not like. They lost that Golden State game, and of course the Lakers. I just didn't like the way the game against Cleveland. The bad shot selection by Jason Tatum there back about 6 weeks ago. I don't like the way they handled their in-game situations. Well, that's what you're going to get in the playoffs. Half-court games, going to come down to execution. The three ball's not going to fall. They're the number one team. Last I checked, I'm sure it's still like that. At most 3-point attempts in a season. The whole reason for getting Porzingis was when these three balls aren't falling, get the ball in the paint, give it a higher percentage shot, play some pick and roll, whether it be with a Jaylen Brown or obviously a Tatum there, and stop living by a dime by a three ball. They don't do that. He's out there shooting three. So real frustrated with the way that's played out there. Had a great season. Best, they have won 64 games here, best record in the entire league. But I just think that they're a coach away. They are a simple coach away here. 64 games there. Best record in the NBA. Could have pressed hard and maybe got 67 to 70 games. This team's really good. Here. I just made some notes. I think they need like an older Larry Brown, Phil Jackson type of coach. Management in Boston are just refusing to admit they made a mistake. That Mazzulla, the current head coach here, is just not quite ready for this. Maybe they make some adjustments in the playoffs, and they do end up winning. And more power to them. A lot of Boston fans, a few Boston fans been on the program. Corey, Andre Gibson here, big Boston Celtics fan. I like what Danny Ainge has done. Wouldn't mind seeing him win a championship. But that being said, they do have a Jeff Van Gundy, a deep playoff run type of coach here, coach in the finals. He is like an advisor to the team. Remember, he got let go by ESPN. Bring somebody in like that, bring a vet in like that to coach this team hard and have them, actually dial in. I like that story Charles Barkley sold the other day. When Boston got beat, looked like they were just loafing around against the Knicks in a meaningless game. And he says, I remember the year that we had our best team here. Had the top seed, Phoenix Suns, 1993, said, we loafed around the last 2 weeks of the regular season and went down 0-2. Best team, best shape. And the Lakers got them down 0-2. They rallied back, but they could have lost that series. And, he just thought about what a disappointment. Now, ultimately, they pushed the Bulls to the 6, and we know what happens here. The big shot by John Paxson, I think, helped them win their third championship in Chicago. But you need that one coach, to get in their rear end. Maybe I'm wrong, but other than that, I still like this a Denver team who, they're not the one seed. You're going to get teams come at you stronger. I still think they're just as good as they were last year. Probably the Joker's going to win MVP or finish second behind SGA out of Oklahoma City. But, you look at it, this team's ready to go. All their prime players, under 30 years old. Don't really need that deep a bench. As long as you got Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, and, of course, the Joker, you got your big three with Michael Porter, 6'10", who could shoot inside and outside. you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You know, so now teams to watch. I also made some notes here, and I tell you what, from what I've observed the last few weeks, it's not the West is number one seed. Like I said, Oklahoma City, very young. Chet Holmgren played about 74, 75 games. A lot of people were concerned about his frailty. Second year in the NBA, didn't really play his rookie year. A lot of people calling this his actual rookie year. Looks like him, SGA, that team. Sam Presti done a marvelous job. He's my favorite general manager in the whole of NBA. You know, right smack dab in the middle of the country and absolutely killing it as a general manager, going into one run after another. Cycle through Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook crowd. Now he's got Chet Holmgren, SGA. But they're not the team to watch. They're not the team to watch. You're saying, well, what about the talented Minnesota led by Anthony Edwards? Still a little premature for Edwards. The best and upcoming American player, in my opinion. Love what he's done. Has some dazzling moments. And it's definitely not the Lakers or the Warriors, contrary of what ESPN and Fox been telling you for week after week after week to fill up space on these shows here. You'd act like those two were the 1 and the 2 seeds. It's not those. And you know, I just talked about Denver and Boston being the Vegas favorites to get to the finals there. But the team to watch, that real dark horse, folks, is the Suns. They're 6-2 in the last 8 against really good playoff teams, by the way. Starting to come together there as a team. You could start to see Frank Vogel's got these players buying in, got Nurkic actually getting down and rebounding. I think he heard the criticism from Golden State. He's heard the criticism from guys like me. Remember, he was acquired in the 3-way deal there to move Ayton. I wish they would have kept Ayton. They had a real shot at the finals here. But remember, this team pushed Denver hard last year in 6 games. And now they just re-signed Grayson Allen, their sharpshooter. You got Bradley Beal putting together a healthy stretch here. You're in the playoffs now. You're having a game off between games. This team's going to be tough. They're a 6th seed. They're going to be playing Minnesota in the first round on the road. I like them to get that win. I think they match up well against the Lakers. I think they match up really well. They're the toughest foe for Denver, the favorite in the West. And, of course, anybody else, they would be favored who's left in the playoffs. This Suns team, if healthy, now I think that Dallas series would be good if they played Dallas. Of course, Dallas is playing the Clippers. Kawhi's all banged up. I think Dallas is going to run roughshod there. But, again, 6-2 in the last 8 games. Let's see who they played here. They've been the most impressed that I have been with. Here they are. Yeah, I mean, they're beating teams like Sacramento, Minnesota, Cleveland, New Orleans, Denver back on the 27th of March. I mean, yeah, they have lost to the Clippers and lost to New Orleans. May have had some guys that gotten banged up or sit out those games. But again, you're talking playoffs. Remember, they got a new coach now. They've got a championship-winning coach here, and Frank Vogel. Remember, he was the coach of the Lakers when they won in the dome or whatever in the bubble. Yeah, he was the coach of that team when they went in the bubble. So obviously, I think people are sleeping on them. I've seen some games where they look bad. Probably at the end of February, early March. Beal was banged up. Booker's missed some time. Durant, obviously, he's in and out all the time. But now things are starting to settle down. this could be the team that people thought at the beginning of the season if they were healthy. That's a big if. But I think they're going to be one of the more scary teams. I'm going to be interested to see what they can do here in the West here. Obviously, yes, Dallas is better. Dallas is better defensively, rebounded better. Kyrie and Luka's actually gelling. Did not see that. Absolutely did not see that happen. Got to give your hats off to Jason Kidd. Getting these players to play together. Kyrie's on his best behavior. Seems to be happy in Dallas. They had a big win over Denver 6-7 weeks ago. I like that one last-second shot there. Luka's just probably the most talented scorer in the league. Could score at ease. Got a really good matchup here to start the series off against the LA Clippers, who are just starting to fall apart because of the health reasons of Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, yeah, Dallas, another team to watch. Again, those are just dark horse teams nobody's really thinking about. Possibly the Knicks could make a run getting to the East now. I did hear Rick Bucher say on Fox Sports the other day that oh, God, I was just talking about him the other day. His name will come to me here in a minute here. Let's see. By the way, the Lakers are now up by 3. Yeah, actually put a few dollars on. They've went on a run. It's 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second quarter here. Wait a minute. Yeah, they're almost at halftime here. It's the Knicks here. Knicks line up here. I can't believe I can't remember this guy's name here. Of course, Brunson. Yeah, Brunson. I made a case here, baby. He should be a possible MVP candidate. No Randall. Team has got to be a 2 seed. Milwaukee looks like they're not going to have Giannis. That calf string's going to linger. I think the Indiana. Of course, I'll talk a little bit more of this as the week goes along because we still have playing games today. In the West, we'll have the East tomorrow. And then, of course, on, Friday, I guess? Yeah. We'll have all this stuff settled out. We'll have our 7 and 8 seeds here settled in. And then, of course, Saturday, which I can't wait, starts the first round of the playoffs. Okay? So it's interesting. The ratings will be good. I do think the ratings will be good. Okay, staying with the round ball, folks. Listen, I tell you. So Caitlin Clark, if I can find my notes on her, I don't know what I did with it now. She was drafted. I cannot remember what I did with her. I had some notes on her. She was drafted number 1 overall. And I tell you, a lot of people going on and on about how she, how much she was getting paid and not getting paid. Okay, here we go. Caitlin Clark's salary posted online on the first overall pick. Russell Wilson, along with other media personalities, made a fuss about it. Her low salary here, and let me go back here and look at this. I mean, people make a big deal out of this, but listen. The truth be told, that this league here, I'm looking for it now. They made a big deal because she's going to make $76,535 her first year. She's the number 1 overall pick by Indiana. And you would think that she's making minimum wage out of college. Okay. Somebody put on, that's a teacher's salary. I'm saying not in Nashville, like $50,000 is a teacher's salary here in Nashville. But that being said, again, Caitlin Clark, new record, becoming Fanatics' highest-selling draft pick jersey in a single night, exceeding the sales of Trevor Lawrence in 2021. Caitlin Clark here for the Indiana, for this Indiana team here. All right. Going back to the salary. This league, the WNBA, started in 96, okay, under David Stern, the former commissioner of the NBA, all right, and the Indiana Fever, okay. They have never, ever made a profit as a league, okay, and that did not misspeak there, folks. They have never made a profit as a league. Over 20, we're talking, 28 years here of data. Back in 2018, Adam Silver spoke at the league's financial outlook. He cited the WNBA has never once turned a profit. The league lose $10 million a year and lost $12 million in 2017. This is an article I got here off of, it goes off like Sportico or whatever. But this article also says while things look bleak and is slowly making strides, viewership is trending in the right direction as they landed a $75 million investment. The league as a whole valued around $1 billion. Now, that's the whole league. That's not one team. You know, the league reported 60. Think about this. Think about how big the NBA salaries are. The WNBA, $60 million in revenue due to current collective bargain agreement. 12.3 million was distributed amongst the players. All right. So that's why she's getting paid 40. For instance, Steph Curry's salary was 48 million for 1 year. Okay. So you have to look at it from that perspective. But the 2019 season, they saw a 200% increase in viewership, and the highest view game came in at 29 million. Now, Caitlin Clark, I'm telling you right now, from what I'm reading, I'm going to watch those games. Record selling, jersey sales, seats are going to be selling. Is this the equivalent of a Michael Jordan taking the league? Remember the Last Dance? Remember all of you that watched the Last Dance? Scottie Pippen signs his 7-year contract in 1991. And we know what happened after that. Jordan, that Bulls team they went on a run. They won 3 straight championships. The league started to take off. They go on and Jordan takes a year off and basically lose 2 seasons, comes back. They go on another 3-peat run, and the revenue after that 92 Olympics with the Jordan play, with the Jordan shoe sales, everything goes into the globalization of the game. It explodes, and of course he's getting ticked off. He's like the 127th ranked player, and he was ranked top 5 maybe, top 2 in some people's opinion during those years. And Reinsdorf told him, the owner said, listen, do not sign this. This is too long a deal, man. Don't ask me for it. And of course he got some money later. He got a ton by Portland later, but he missed out 2 or 3 really good years there. Where he could have made, I don't know, $18 to $25 million a year. And that's in 1995, 96, somewhere of that nature here. I think he was making like $7 million a year. But all that being said, with Angel Reese, with that, with her going to Chicago, now you have Clark in Indiana. That could be a Bulls Pacers, like if we're comparing the men, right? Type of rivalry. This could be a Bird versus Jordan, or Bird Magic Johnson, 79-80. Remember, Larry Bird took an Indiana State team. It's for my time too, folks. I'm not that old. but I do know the history. Indiana State team to the national championship, only never to be heard of again. But when him, and by the way, Angel Reese looked great last night. They got a picture taken together. She goes to Chicago. Caitlin Clark goes to Indiana. I think they both kind of figure out they're going to make a lot of money in the WNBA. I'm going to end up watching. When's it come on? This summer after the games between the big three and whatnot. But if you think about it, though, that was what saved the NBA. The NBA used to be on tape delay back in the late 70s. But then you got Magic versus Bird, East versus West, white versus black. That's what the media tries to do everything. But even back in them days. But everybody liked Magic. It was really cool, you know. And, you know, it was Celtics, Lakers, Celtics. So could that be for this WNBA game? Could that salary there that is $78,000, which people act like she's getting minimum wage and then the welfare line, she's already got $1 million deal from Fanatics. She's got a $5 million offer that's to play 11 games in the Big Three Men's League coming up in June. She could play it just before it would be right around her WNBA season. No word on whether she'll take that or not. This chick could explode. I'll say this. She's coming in at 70-something. She's got like a $300-something thousand a year contract. Okay. Clark breaks record. This was TMZ. This was today, by the way. Caitlin Clark breaks jersey sales record, top selling draft pick ever. So I guess there's a lot of little girls that like her, you know. I'm a guy I like watching her play, you know. She's off the hook. Friend of mine's a good NBA fan. Big time. He said, man, I'm watching this chick, man, with that wicked crossover she's got, you know, that range, the passing ability. But going back to her salary, okay, her rookie year, she'll make $97,000 in 2027 with the player option. Okay, I'll put it this way: 10 years from now, if they play their cards right, this could be $1 million to start off for the number one pick. It really could be. Her next contract after this, the way things are right now, pending a catastrophic injury, pending she loses focus, gets married, has a bunch of, I don't think that's going to happen. I think she'll be the highest paid WNBA player ever if things keep transpiring the way they are. I think she'll break all the records as far as pay because she's box office. That's all TV creditors, people that I've tried to get to be my manager to help build up SportsScope and stuff. They always ask me one thing: how many followers you got? I said, well, I got 1,000 here, got 1,000 there. They said, man, 50,000 followers has got to be the minimum for us to even look. Everything is about numbers, and that's what Caitlin Clark brings. It's transferred over to the WNBA. Also, the Dave Portnoy offer. He offered her some kind of offer through Barstool, and I forgot what it was, but it was a $10 million offer. A $10 million. You know, he's on a hot streak right now. Barstool founder, and this is still supposedly in the this is supposedly still on the table as well. Barstool founder Dave Portnoy humorously suggested $10 million offer for her to play in a recreational basketball, highlighting the widespread desire to have Clark on various teams. I'd offer Clark $10 million to play in her intramural hoops team. Now, he might have been joking, but if somebody calls him on it, this guy's got such an ego and he's got the money to back it up, he would probably take her up on that. Not sure how serious, but I do know that Ice Cube was deadly serious about her joining the Big Three, and he said that again yesterday. That was reported. That's still good, you know, and Jason Woodlock saying, hey, listen, that changed the rules for her. I hope they don't do that because the Big Three has hand checking. That's what makes the big three cool. They got those 4-point shots. She probably would be a liability on defense, but she would be a big draw for that summer league big three tournament there. But anyways, I thought it was amazing. It was really good. Again, with Angel Reese going to Chicago, that's going to be interesting. I do think that those salaries 10 years from now, we'll be talking about, wow, they used to pay women $78,000. Now it's $1.5 million. The women don't have to go overseas to make any money. Again, this league has never turned a profit since 1996. The NBA is carrying the WNBA. You know, I think that can all come to a change when you've got a generational player like a Caitlin Clark, a phenom, that has got that Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. Master. I'm 35 minutes in the show. I didn't mention the Masters. Kudos to Scotty Scheffler. I think second time in 3 years or whatever. It's just not the same without Tiger and Phil Mickelson really playing well, coming down the stretch here. Mainly Tiger. He just brought up everybody's payday, brought billions and billions to the sport of golf, is what I read when doing research for this particular program. Okay. I know I've got some other stuff here I wanted to. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, switching gears back to the pigskin. All right. Now, Devontae Smith. 3 years, $75 million contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. All right. And, you know, this is more about, I mentioned this the other day with Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez. And my thing is, you really don't want to have two receivers on max contracts. It just doesn't work. You want to move off one of these guys, particularly. I was listening to this guy from the I saw him off the Dan Salico show, I guess it's called, off the X app here. And he says, by the way, within the next years, on the average, Devontae Smith and Brown are both going to be making $25 million a year. Brown's stats dwarf his. I'll go over it here in a minute. But this guy, I guess he's out of Philadelphia. He says, I think A.J. Brown is going to start complaining and bleeping about the fact that the guy on the other side is lesser talented player, less productive, and he'll complain about wanting more money. You know, I don't know how he can complain when the guy I'm talking about A.J. Brown, former Tennessee Titan Eagle, 158 targets last year. I mean, that is insane. You know, I forgot. Putting a little context into his targets, A.J. Brown's, they were down late in a lot of those games late in the season. I mean, things just kind of fell apart for him, you know? And compared to a guy like compared to a Devontae Smith, you have 112, 81 catches, 7 touchdowns, to 106 catches with 7 touchdowns as well, with A.J. Brown. But 33rd team put this out. Highest average annual wide receiver salaries in NFL. Tyreek Hill, $30 million. Devontae Adams, $28. Cooper Kupp, $26.7. I didn't know he was making that kind of money. Truth of the matter is, with the way Puka's playing, the Rams probably should have moved on from Kupp last year. They may do it this year. A.J. Brown at 25, tied at 4th. Devontae Smith, that's not going to hold up. That's not going to hold up. I think what that is Howie Roseman with the Eagles, the general manager. He's kind of This guy likes to get ahead of things. He doesn't draft receivers really well. Jalen Reagor, I want to say he was the sixth pick. And remember that year that, was it 2020 or 2019? I think it was 2020. That they put their backup quarterback in, their third string quarterback in, so they can purposely lose the last game of the season to the Commanders there and get the sixth pick. They gave it a, well, they end up taking a guy that wasn't worth it. It's like a bad NFL karma, right? And so Jalen Reagor was not a very good pickup there at the receiver position. Looking ahead, he's realized that Devontae Smith's a hit. He's developed the chemistry here with Jalen Hurts. But you look at A.J. Brown, not as bad as a Stephon Diggs, but the year they went to the Super Bowl complaining about not getting the football in a blowout beat the Giants in a blowout on their way to the NFC Championship game year before last. He complained about not getting the ball back in September last year. I'm not a diva. I just want to be part of the game. Well, we know that. So you look at that. You could see him complaining on the sidelines in certain games. The money for him now this year, again, high rolling, smart guy, always ahead of the curve here. His cap hit's $12 million, Eagles fan. So you've got Devontae Smith here. You're going to be good at left tackle. You've got your left tackle. Now you lost Kels there at center. And, of course, they've got Saquon at running back here. And they've got Keelan Moore. But, again, A.J. Brown, this year's $12 million cap hit. That's really good for a guy of his caliber, 27 years old. It goes up to $26 million next year. Then it goes up to 41 and 26. He will still be under 30. The best time, what Roseman's looking ahead as, what if this Keelan Moore doesn't work out as an offensive coordinator? Remember, he got pass happy in games where they should have been running a clock out with the particularly not 2 years ago, Keelan Moore with Dak Prescott and that Cowboy team. They got real pass happy down the stretch there against Jacksonville, and that cost them the game and a seeding. Could that happen here? Could we be around the trade deadline, say, coming up in November or whatnot? This team is 500. The locker room's being lost. Nick Sirianni, who is acting like a Joe Judge, okay, supposedly been restrained from almost getting into players. Those were reports last year, and their security guy who got kicked out for, I think he's pushing one of the 49er players. Remember that during that 49er game? Well, he was supposed to have been the barrier between Sirianni and the players. Remember, this team fired both their defensive coordinator and their offensive coordinator. They got Vic Fangio on defense. Fangio's got a massive ego. He might butt heads. His defense, he might not gel well with these players there. I think Fletcher Cox, didn't he retire too? With these young players there in Philadelphia. Well, they got some talented, though. I like Davis here. I like Jared Davis. But anyways, my point is this thing could fall apart. Roseman's looking ahead saying if things start to go off, and I know that Lori, the owner, is going to want me to fire, or he's going to fire Sirianni at the end of this thing. And we can see that when things are going south, A.J. Brown goes south. He's going to go south. We can dump him while he still has value. He's big. He's going to be under 30, 27 years old. Dump him to a team that's got a young quarterback still not making a lot of money here. Move him away before the big money hits in. You're probably not going to get a first and third like Tennessee did, but you could probably get a second round, and you still got a viable wide receiver in Devontae Smith. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't draft a receiver this year and cross their fingers in the second round or whatever, or maybe late in the first round, hoping that this player can play so they can move on from A.J. Brown. They want to do what the Bills did, in my opinion, but they want to do it a year or two sooner. And I think because Roseman knows deep down, because once Jalen Hurts' contract really kicks in, and then I just mentioned those big cap hits from A.J. Brown, $26 million next year, $40+ million the year after that, and then it's voidable, you know. But the trade was worth it. He got Tennessee's general manager fired, John Robertson. They got to the Super Bowl. They set the world on fire that first year. Probably should have won the Super Bowl. So the gamble paid off, if you ask me. But now a lot of these receivers, diva receivers, okay, you don't want to keep them around too long. And I think some of that is what Tennessee picked up on. I didn't hear about it, but either way, that's what I'm thinking. That's advancing Devontae Smith those 3 years to there, 3 years, $75 million. That's an insurance policy. That's Howie Roseman saying, this is a guy we drafted. It's a lot more suitable. People want to say, well, his numbers got better because of AJ. I think his numbers got better because Hurts got better. You know, I think Jalen Hurts developed. Now, again, if it don't work out with Keelan Moore and Vic Fangio, then Sirianni's gone, and they don't want that cancerous personality that some of these receivers have when things go south. Get a sense that's probably going something's going to happen. You cannot have two max guys like that. I before all this other news broke this week, I was going to talk about T. Higgins. You know, he's not even considered a diva. He's considered the two on that team. He says he expects to play on the franchise tag this year. We have the draft next Thursday, folks, which I forgot to actually put down my mock 10 here. Myself and Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez will be on Thursday doing a draft show for the first 10 picks. We're going to do the first 10 picks of the draft show next week. Brandon Ayuk has unfollowed the 49ers. Okay. So that's one. T. Higgins, they're not going to extend two receivers there in Cincinnati. They've got needs on defense. They can always use another offensive lineman. They can use a best available player type. They could use some depth, particularly in the secondary. They need help at corner like nobody. They would love to get another pick in the 20s. They would love to get this Cooper DeJean out of Iowa, the cornerback. He's supposed to be the best rated cornerback. Remember, they lost Awuzie to the Titans down here in Nashville. Okay, so you've got Higgins that could be traded next week. You've got Brandon Ayuk, who's unfollowed the 49ers. Remember, they're playing Deebo Samuel. They really can't afford to pay two receivers, too. Eventually, they're going to have to play Brock Purdy. You don't want to pay two wideouts big money. So, he might get a late first and early second himself. And throw in a wild card, because the problems with A.J. Brown, that's just what we see, folks. People say, well, this stuff's minor. You're just making a big deal. Those issues are what we see. I noticed that Michael Parsons been loud I think he's just a very competitive guy. He wants to get things done. Wants to win a Super Bowl. He just doesn't want to be famous with the Dallas Cowboys. But there was a report, he was wearing thin with Dallas. That's what we see. It's usually more than what's being out there and reported about players. So don't think they'll move him. I'm just using that example. If you think that a player in the league is a locker room nuisance or starting to get somewhat of a cancerous, toxic, putting out bad vibes for the rest of the team here, I'm telling you, it's usually worse than what's being let on. He usually really rubs the players the wrong way. We found out about Terrell Owens, Antonio Brown, Stephon Diggs, wide receiver. Not just ever. I mean, there's other players that cause ruckus and whatnot in locker room, but it just seems more often than not it goes with that receiver position. But yeah, A.J. Brown still got a lot of value. I'm sure that they would like to deal him now, but I don't know who could really use him. I doubt the Giants, they would do a deal within their division. Justin Jefferson, he's going to command, and I'm not saying he's a diva, but this guy is going to command $30+ million. Look, you remember those other two players I just named? Did you guys recall that? Davante Adams and Tyreek Hill. What happened to – did those teams fall apart? Did the Raiders fall apart, or did the Green Bay Packers fall apart when they traded Davante Adams, picked up those extra picks? They got depth all over the place at wide receiver now. Depth blew out Dallas, pushed the 49ers pretty hard, almost beat them, and got all these guys on rookie contracts. And Tyreek Hill, well, I don't know, Kansas City, they won 2 Super Bowls. Go figure. And they still got Rashee Rice, even though, he got in a little bit of trouble last week with that car wreck. So it's a big deal. You just don't want to pay these guys more often than not. If you're that less at quarterback, maybe you pay one receiver and one tight end, or just one and take care of the line in front of them. Okay, let's see what's going on in this Laker game here. Lakers score. I'm just curious here. They were at halftime. Now Lakers back up by 10. Okay, yeah, they just out rebound New Orleans. Yeah, so again, Lakers don't bench anybody. You don't want to take a chance and get beat in a single elimination game by a red-hot Warriors team that may shoot you out, or the team that is, 10-4 against you, 4-0 this year, and the Sacramento Kings. You just want to go ahead and try to lock that position into the playoffs here and just take your chance with the potential Denver team. All right. So tomorrow I'll be back here. I mean, I don't know what I'll be talking about. That depends on what's going on and popping. I got a feeling tonight's going to be a good night. No, I got a feeling there's going to be a trade before the draft. I just feel it, folks. Something's going to happen with either the Chargers. Something's going to happen with the possibly the Arizona Cardinals. Somebody's going to trade up there. Not sure if it's going to be McCartney, but I just got a feeling if one of these receivers are going to get traded that I just mentioned coming up here at the very last minute here, just for the draft. Less than, a little bit over 1 week. We're 9 days away from the NFL draft here, in which we will be doing a show here myself and Carlos Man New Yorker Chavez going over the first top 10. So if you like the show, share the show. I'll be back on tomorrow. Same time, same place. Otherwise, here on Sports Scope. Have a good night, everybody.